Welcome back everybody to the daily show where we discuss and do technical analysis for big mega cap stocks. So show your support by hitting that thumbs up button, and that is greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, consider subscribing, and that means a lot to me. And if you want to support the channel and get my daily trade ideas, my swing trade ideas, and 3 days of live trading, check out the Patreon, and that link will be down below in the description. To the upside, as long as this thing can hold above 715, we could see continuation all the way up to 728 and then 745, and looks like that upgrade on Nvidia stock 800, we could be going there the way this thing is moving. But at some point, like I said, you're going to see blow off top on Nvidia stock. On Nvidia stock, absolutely flat on the day, and you guys saw that clip from my last video. I actually called it right here that Nvidia can hold 715. We could see a move all the way up to 745, and boy oh boy, this thing delivered today. It got up to 746.11, another fresh new all-time high, and right after that we saw big dump off. Nvidia from 746 came down to 712.50, and now trading at 722.48, and again selling off right here, you can see. So going into tomorrow's session, watch out for the support down here, 715, 705, rising 5-day moving average, and then 700. Below 700, this thing can dump all the way down to 666 and then 662, 13-day moving average. To the upside, Nvidia can hold right here 715, then watch out for a move all the way up to 738.38 and then 745 again. And here's my X account, and if you're on there, definitely give me a follow, and there is no subscription, nothing you gotta go through, and I do put out lots of information right here on X, including plays like this one. This was a nice swing trade which I actually got in at 239, 245 calls, and pretty much going in the money today, sold for a nice profit. And not only these guys, lots of charts, lots of setups in my Discord. So if you want to get all that, and especially if you want to support the channel, check out that Patreon link down below in the description. On Apple, stock is down 0.90%, and Apple actually trading below all these moving averages right here on this daily chart, and that is not looking bullish. And the next support on Apple definitely down here, 185, and below that 183. To the upside, now Apple needs to break 188, 190, and once we get above 190, then we can talk about continuation to the upside all the way up to 195 to 196.54, up to this Bollinger Band on top. On Meta, absolutely flat on the day, only up 0.17%, and we saw that breakout today on Meta over 470, but look at that rejection and a lot more selling, and this thing came down and now trading below 470 once again. So last 4 or 5 trading session, this thing cannot break and hold 470, and once again today getting up to almost 480 and then coming down and now closing at 468.90, holding right here 466 5-day moving average as a support into closing. So that's gonna be your line in the sand going into tomorrow, 466, and below that you're going to see a dump off down to 452 on Meta. To the upside, and the only way up, Meta needs to break 470, it needs to hold 470, and then you're going to see continuation to the upside up to this high 485.96, 490, and then 500. So Netflix down on the day 0.62%, and you can see another attempt to break out of this bull flag and another rejection today, and came back and now holding barely 5-day moving average, which is sitting at 558. So that's gonna be your line in the sand tomorrow, and below that this thing can dump possibly down to 538.74 to retest 20-day moving average right here. To the upside, and the only way up, this thing needs to get that breakout from this bull flag, and that can happen possibly above 564. That's gonna be a resistance to watch, and then top of this flag, which is at around 568. Once we get that, then watch out for a move up to 580, 588, and then 600. On Microsoft is down 1.26%, so the momentum definitely dying here on Microsoft. And you can see today came down to 414, and now 5-day moving average right here moved up, sitting really close to 414. So that's gonna be your line in the sand in between 413 this high and 414 tomorrow. Below that, this thing can come down to 410, 408, 93 13-day moving average, and then 404, 400. But as long as Microsoft can hold right here in between 413 and 414, yes, we could see another fresh new all-time high, and that might be 421.24 on Microsoft. On AMD, it's down 0.33%, and that is why if you can actually read the chart and you can read patterns, you can make a lot of money in this market. Now, a lot of people cannot do that. And this was a fantastic play for anyone who can actually read the chart. And I'm going to show you guys how. Because this morning, this thing opened at 172.68. And right after opening, what happened? It actually opened right here above 20-day moving average. And you know that this thing is wedging right here. What happened, guys? Massive explosion up to 177.41. But if you look at it, people who got calls this morning, they got paid. And people who short it, they also got paid. And if you actually played, calls and then puts, you got paid both ways, and you know how to read the chart. Because if we short it right here, you can see top of this wedge right here, this trend line, actually a big resistance right here. And soon as this thing got up to 177, got chopped off, came down to where? Look at this, 170 now. So if you can read the chart, that's the only way you can make money here in this market. Otherwise, you're just, going blindly. You don't know anything. And key to your success, definitely you need to know all the patterns, candles, charts, and if you don't, it's going to be really difficult and hard for you to make money, unless quickly you go and you start learning all these charts and patterns on stock market and all these stocks. So here on AMD, now we do have support down here, 171, 20-day moving average, and then watch out for a dump off, possibly down to right here, 164, previous all-time highs. To the upside, now AMD needs to break right here, 173.44, and above that, watch out for 177 to 176. That's going to be this, wedge right here, top of this wedge, this trend line, and it needs to break, and then you could see continuation to the upside up to 180 to 184. But if this thing actually breaks down and looks like Bollinger Bands are squeezing, so another big move is coming on AMD. You can see the Bollinger Band on top coming down and the lower one actually going up. So that is actually called a Bollinger Band squeeze on a stock. And whenever that happens, you're going to see massive moves. And it could be to the downside or to the upside. We just have to wait and find out. On Amazon, stock is down 1.21%, and Amazon now breaking below 173 and also holding 171.26 as a support into closing. And you can see low for the day 171.54. It was holding 5-day moving average right here, this blue line, into closing as a support. So going into tomorrow's session above 173, that opens the door for a move up to 176.88 up to even 180. And below 173, Amazon takes out this 5-day moving average right here, 171.26. Then you're going to see a dump off, possibly back down to 170 and then 167. On Google, stock is down 1%, and you can see Google now holding 148, and we finally got this gap filled right here on Google stock, came down to 148.53. And now into closing, holding 148. So are we going to see Google holding 148 and possibly going back after this gap 150 to 78? Definitely possible. It's trading above rising 20-day moving average, which is sitting also close to 148, to be exact 147.66. So there is a lot of support right here on Google around 148. Now if that gives up, yes, you could see a drop down to 145, and then this gap 143.88. To the upside, as long as Google can hold, I would say right here 148, we could see that move, that V shape, and continuing to the upside up to this gap 152.78. On Tesla, stock is down 2.81%, and Tesla definitely having a bad day. And you can see also some bad news came out. I think again Elon doing price cuts on Model Y, and that is why this thing is down. And not to mention, we actually never flipped into an uptrend, so this is actually a strong downtrend. And so far, no breakout over 200. So the downtrend is intact, and this thing again coming back and down on the day 2.81% and barely holding right here. If you look at my screen, blue line 5-day moving average, which is sitting at 188.79. So that is gonna be your line in the sand tomorrow, 188.79. And so far it's actually trading slightly below that, so watch out. This thing can come down again all the way down to 180 unless this thing gets that breakout over 20-day moving average right here. Not only 194, this resistant 196.14, and then watch out for a move up to 200. And once we get above 200, then we can talk about this downtrend ending and possibly going up even higher up to this gap 206.77 up to even 212 and much higher later on. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for watching.